Welcome. And it's great to have you here and excited about what our company does every day for the amazing technicians that are part of Reach and excited for the work that they do every day for the incredible clients. Our technicians succeed when the clients are really well served. When our technicians succeed, the company succeeds. The first thing I want to start with is what was the top reason why you chose to be part of the Reach team?
Well, when Greg approached me with the idea of forming a company that was totally technician based, that sold me. I've known Greg for a very long time. That is his focus on a lot of things. Has been service. He was my branch manager, vice president of the company, all the way through that. He was service focused. So I signed me up. I love the idea. I was hitting some roadblocks with the supply house and looking for something that Reach was able to offer.
And how about yourself, Dean? What was your top reason why you chose to be part of Reach?
I chose Reach because I wanted to come back to dental in a different way. I did leave dental for about a year and 4 months after I left Patterson for being there 27 years. But then when I decided to come back to dental, I did know that I didn't want to go back to the dealer way. So when I found out about Reach and the way that their business model was laid out, that drawed me to it. Being able to serve my clients in my own way, kind of thing, the Reach way.
I wanted to do so much more with my clients. I was like the senior technician in my territories. And which meant in a supply house, putting everybody else's fires out. And I wasn't focusing on the clients as much as I wanted to. So now, man, I'm part of their team and in the offices my clients. And it's been a wonderful journey as far as building that relationship as I go with all my clients. I'm their technician. They know that. It's not a gamble of who they're going to get in their office. That camaraderie of working with the office has been great.
Dean, I love the attention to detail you give to your clients. And when I think about when we had our very first conversations together and you shared with me kind of what your vision was for serving your clients, and then to get to co-travel with you and
Mm-hmm.
get that see that come to life, it's really rewarding for me. And I think, for technicians who are interested to know, yeah, you can have a vision of what you want that to look like, and you get a chance to see that play out or get to experience that play out when you come here.
100%.
We spend a lot of our energy and our focus on eliminating stress for our clients, right? That's one of the key things that we do. Can you share a specific way or a specific example of how you feel like you eliminate that stress?
The biggest part of my days are recare, preventive maintenance. We really promote that with Reach, and it relieves the stress in so many different ways. Offices don't realize how many things are right on the brink of being problematic and possibly shutting down operatories, hopefully never shutting down the office, but it can take it to that level. And so our preventive maintenance program, going in there and showing them. I always like the analogy of the doctor patient analogy. They provide their patients with a treatment plan. They get to plan things out. They're going to take their patient and go through everything they need to do in their mouth. We do the same thing for the office. We plan everything out that we recommend on a timely manner. So it could be from initially repairing stiff tubings to stiff upholstery. Let's plan that expensive upholstery out. Let's keep it on the radar that needs to be done because it's rock hard. And offices don't realize that. They don't realize these things that we're pointing out. But once we do and realize also that each one of the things that we point out could be a crisis situation, but we're not having it in that crisis situation anymore because we're recommending it. They're following through. They trust us as their technicians, and we're taking that stress out of all those little repairs that could be an operatory down, and we know how expensive that can be.
Dean, is there an example of some way that you've eliminated stress for for a client or for your clients?
In my experience with doing recares, being able to find everything from vacuum pumps leaking in closets because they don't ever go in there and turn them on because they have remote panels to, they didn't know that it was leaking until I went in there. And then I point out, hey, if we were on recare, we could be finding things like this, and then somebody's constantly going in there to inspect things like that. The other one is doing recare and finding x-rays that are loose on the wall and having to tighten them up. When you point things out like that, doctors see value in recare, and then I think it eliminates the stress. I think knowing that I'm the guy and that direct connection of having my cell phone number, I've had offices call me all the time or text me questions or, just when am I available to come by and do certain things, just being the guy. I think eliminates a lot of stress.
That the technician has that designated territory, and those clients that are in that territory are that technician's responsibility, and that client always knows that they're going to get that technician. That sense of confidence, that sense of comfort. When there's an issue, Dean's going to be here. It's not there's going to be somebody that's going to come. It's that Dean's going to be there or Daryl's going to be there. Not knowing who's going to be walking in that door can be really stressful for an office. That is very typical of what it looks like within the dental industry. At the dealers, mostly it's a team of people, and there'll be somebody from that team that will go in. And we wanted something that was really different. And we wanted something that, because they would get that same technician, somebody they know, somebody that they trust, it would help to eliminate that stress of who we're going to get. So, Dean, I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you so much. For the last, I'm going to call it 4 to 5 years, Gerald's growth has been almost exclusively from referrals. That he built this base of clients, and then the growth from that base came through referrals. Gerald, would you share a little bit about what the role of referrals has been for you in building out a fully built out territory?
Certainly. Yeah. So my territory it's fully developed as far as it's at a level that is very comfortable for me. But you always have that attrition. You have doctors that retire, doctors that sell, and so on and so forth. So you always need that replacement of new accounts coming into your territory. I rely on my offices, my doctors, my hygienists, assistants that really help me out in that area. In fact, I just got a referral the other day of a hygienist that left and went into another office and referred me. Those are kind of happenstance kind of thing. But the way we like to nurture referrals is by actually going in and talking to the doctors and talking to them who their colleagues are, who they know. We have done a lot of work on building this referral program up that we have set up that helps our technicians go into offices and talk to the doctors that they're familiar with and find out where they can get referrals. And that's where I get all of my new accounts are through those referrals and working with all of my all the relationships I built up through the years.
I want you to imagine a day when you're never having to do another cold call. And Daryl had a big smile on his face. And I said, well, Daryl, the cool thing is that day has arrived. You're going to grow all from referrals. And that has been the case. And we help guys be able to do that, right? It's a skill that most guys don't come with, but it's a skill that guys absolutely can embrace and become good at, recognizing that we provide amazing service for our clients and that our clients want to help us. And so I'm sure that that's been the case for you, Daryl, that your clients have been happy to help you.
Oh, definitely. Every time I've asked, it's like, what can I do? I ask for any kind of help. They're like, yeah, just tell me.
So Dean's situation is a little bit different. And so Dean's first 16 months kind of look like Daryl's first 16 months. It is a lot of territory growth. It's a lot of going out and visiting offices in your territory and promoting the Reach brand. So Dean, would you share what that first 12 to 14 months has looked like going out and introducing yourself to folks, visiting offices and promoting the brand to get to where you are?
The first couple of months was real fun, and then months after that became even more fun. Well, just with walking into offices that I already knew from being in the dental industry already, seeing familiar faces, them asking me, what is it I'm doing now? For me to tell them that I'm no longer with a dealer, but I'm with Reach. And they're like, well, who's Reach? I've never heard of them. Here I am with my marketing material. And I explained it all to them, how Reach started and where we are today and where we're going, what it is we do. It's been very fulfilling.
You mentioned that it got even more fun. How was it? How's
Well,
it that
because
it became even more fun?
As you start to build your clientele, and then you start getting these text messages from offices, or you start getting these service requests from offices, and when you repair things for in offices, then they're happy and they put smiles on our faces.
Two guys who are at a little bit different stages, right? Daryl, 7 years in, Dean a little bit more than a year, but both very successful territories as they've built them. And I think that if we're having this conversation a year from now, Dean will likely be talking about a lot of the same things that Daryl's talking about, because now he's at that place where Daryl was when he and I went to Chipotle. So maybe Dean, you and I I'm gonna come down there. We're gonna go to Chipotle. All right.
All right, sounds good. And I have built part of my territory through referrals, just from the other doctors who found out about me and what it is we're doing, and spreading the word, and talk about ReCare and talk about me being the guy. So
I want to talk a little bit about now the support team. Being part of a team that supports you is a big part about being a Reach technician. Can you share a few examples of the support that you get and what that means to you? Dean, would you be so kind to go first with that?
Meeting with Greg for the first year every Friday, man, it's been great. Now we're like once a month, and it's like, man, I kind of miss those once a weeks with Greg, and just with Greg coaching me and help me build a successful territory. And if it's not Greg, it's been DJ, or it's been Ann. The support team here at Reach is just phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate that. Yeah, I miss our weeklies too. The new guys had to take your slots.
There had to be somebody else to come in. I know. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
How about yourself, Daryl? Could you share a little bit about some examples of the support that you get and what it means to you?
One thing I didn't mention is I was an independent technician for a couple of years. After I got out of the service, I did not like it. What you have to do being an independent is all the administrative things, all the background things. I like to turn a wrench. That's what I like to do. And what Reach gives me is that opportunity to go out there, focus on that. And my support team of everybody, Tina helping me with my audio ReCare type ups, to DJ doing all the ordering, marketing, and all the lineup of that, and Sarah and Greg. It's just, we have that support team that I'm done at the end of the day. I am done, and I don't need to do anything additional. When I was an independent technician, that never stopped. You had to go home and you had to do your billing, you had to do your warranties, any parts ordering, all that stuff. My support team, our support team at Reach, that's what they're there for. And that gives me and my family a lot of extra time. When I go home, I'm done, and I get to enjoy being home.
So last question is, it's important for techs to see other guys succeeding. You guys succeed. How would you describe your Reach success story? If you had to tell your Reach success story, Daryl, what would that sound like?
The amount of time extra that I have now for my family, that's a huge part of my life, of course, is my family. This is affording me all that extra time. The relationships with all the other technicians at Reach, we are tight as far as we support each other when need be. We're texting back and forth questions. It really helps to run ideas off of guys. And to see the other guys succeed, we have a thing called Reach Rally, where we get to celebrate all the successes by the levels of accounts that we have, to labor hours, to there's a whole slew of things that we get to celebrate all our successes. And to see the other technicians do that, it means a lot.
Thanks, Daryl. Dean, what does your success story sound like?
My success story is still early. The thing is, I'm only doing it for a year and 3-ish months. I mean, here at Reach, I still see myself 10 years from now and still loving what I do, as opposed to being in the dealer model where I was there a long time and kind of burned out. I feel like coming here, it gave me new life,
Yeah.
So my success story is still to come.
These guys are both very successful. They both contribute a ton to the success of the company. They also define success in lots of different ways. The opportunity for him to be able to have what we call work-life harmony. What he does with his family plays well with what he does at work. And for Dean, I think an important part of that success is loving what he's doing.
Yes.
Right. And my goal is that each technician who's part of Reach has a chance to be able to experience that success. And it's not always defined in exactly the same way. Everybody knows their part in to help make the company a success. They all understand that. Each guy's success is defined in their way, and our job is to be able to help them achieve that success. I love that Dean is loving what he's doing. That's cool. And I love that Daryl gets to take care of his clients and be close to them, right? And that's an important part of his success too. And so for each guy who joins our team, that's our purpose, that's our mission. That's why we exist, is to be able to help our guys succeed. I think that's a good conclusion to the questions I had prepared. And so why don't we open up the floor?
As far as building the territory, Daryl talked about building like a healthy territory. And so I was kind of curious how many offices or clients that would kind of consist of.
Yeah, so currently, active accounts, I would say 125, 130-ish. That keeps me going consistently. Keeps me going all the time. And we also have those referrals that come in and out. So that's constantly changing as far as active accounts.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is we've been doing this long enough that we know how the math works, what it takes in order to be able to build a successful territory. You could do it with as few as 80. You can do it with 120, like Daryl says, and somewhere in between. And I think an important part of that is how many of those active clients are you doing regular preventive maintenance for? That when you're doing regular preventive maintenance for those clients, it does allow you to have fewer active clients. A technician had 80 active clients, and half of them were on ReCare, our preventive maintenance service. That would mean that tech would be doing about 3.5 hours a day ish. And so a technician would have a pretty good territory at that level. Daryl, and Gerald, I'm going to correct you just a little bit. I'm going to correct you just a little bit. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
Daryl has about roughly 110 active clients, and approximately 60 of them or so are on ReCare preventive maintenance. What that does is that puts Daryl at roughly 5 hours labor hours billed per day. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a feeling of what that looks like. The more ReCare preventive maintenance clients you have, the fewer total clients that you need to have. And so, but we suggest, we want guys to be able to have their clients taken care of with preventive maintenance, because we believe it's the right thing to do. Both Daryl and Dean are both very active with ReCare. Dean, how would you like to answer that question? What do you need to do to build a successful territory?
You know how long I've been here? A year and 3 months. My current client status is like 68. And I think I've got, Greg may correct me, I'm at like 35, 40% on ReCare.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm right at close to 3 hours per day is what it kind of doing the math. And like I said, that's a year and 3 months. So by next year, hopefully I'll be more than that. Well, I should be, right? Being able to run your own schedule. And then, like they were talking about the work-life balance, if you got doctor's appointments or kids' appointments or something like that, you just work it into your schedule.
Dean is about at the same place that Daryl was at about the same time, right? When Daryl was roughly a year and a half into this, he was about the same number of clients, and probably about the same number of ReCare clients as well. That kind of gives you a sense of the projection that somebody can build towards.
I was kind of curious about the ReCare program. I'm assuming that's like you would set an office on, like every 2 weeks or every month you would come in and just go through the office and see how everything's running.
We do it every 6 months. We always tell the doctors, hey, it's a verbal agreement between me and the doctor or me and the office manager as far as doing recare. There's no contracts. The idea is you go in and do a good recare. I've gone in and done recares. I've seen vacuum pumps leaking water. They didn't know it was leaking water at the bottom of the platforms. When they see things like that and you point it out to them and they're like, hey, man, I'm glad you're here. Hey, man, I'm glad y'all have the recare. The dealers won't have that.
I mean, as far as going in there and relieving that stress, and that's been a big part of it for the preventive maintenance program. And being able to point out, like say, when we do our recare, we go through everything thoroughly and we'll do minor repairs as we go along. It's so easy to point out to offices that here's 3 service calls that we did within, they get billed by the time, the amount of time we're there. We give them an estimate of time that we're going to be there. A lot of my accounts are on recare. I've been doing it for so many years with the same offices and they're all caught up. So all of my recommendation sheets are all pretty much all completed. They're minor things because we've worked with them. We've kept those things going in the back of their mind, like the upholsteries or even replacing equipment. We keep that in the back of their mind that when that should be done. It's a stress-free environment. That's what we try to create.
I've had doctors that I've gone in and recare that they've known their compressor's probably on his last leg. And then I go in and tell them, hey, we probably want to start thinking about getting some quotes on a new compressor. And no sooner than they get a quote, next thing you know, they bought a new compressor because I've explained to them that, hey, it's not worth, if we already know it's on its last legs, let's don't wait for it to go down, become an emergency. Let's just go ahead and make the plan now. When they can hear it from a technician standpoint and not just, I know it's going out. I'll just replace it when it goes out. Let's not do that. They
know that we're not going to be selling the equipment. We're just recommending. We know that they know that we have their best interests at heart. So we're not saying, hey, yeah, let's wheel and deal and sell you a compressor. It's definitely nice to be an unbiased opinion.
And that's the idea behind recare, is to hopefully cut down on the emergency calls, and just a call for an air water syringe because it's leaking water.
Dean, can you talk about what exactly with recare? Are you just wandering around? Do you have a set list of things you're checking? How is it structured?
It's structured in such a way that you start with the mechanical room because that's the heart of the dental office. If the compressor and vacuum aren't running good, then we know it's going to shut the office down. So I always start there first. Then I go to sterilization, start looking at the autoclave, looking at the ultrasonic, looking at their hydrums or whatever, and then work my way into the operatories. Looking for handpiece tubings that are stiff or vacuum tubings that are stiff, and making sure the HV valves aren't sitting there hissing. Those nuisances. We have a checklist that we walk around with. What I always tell doctors too is I'm a show and tell person. So when I get done with the recare, I always let them know that I'll be back with them in about 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, with that recare recommendation. And then when I walk in with a recare recommendation, I've already got it as far as, critical, moderate, low. I completed it while I was here, or it was good. And then I explained to them, hey, this is a treatment plan for your office. Then they're like, okay, I understand. And I always tell them, just because it's all on here doesn't mean we got to do everything at one time. This is a treatment plan. There has been cases where they're like, okay, Dean, let's just do everything on the list. And we do everything on the list, then sometimes I don't see them for 6 months till the next recare.
It's that trust that Dean and we create with our accounts, that they know that we're looking out for their best interests. They're like, yeah, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good.
But I do walk around the office when I'm doing the recare recommendation, so I make them a copy, and then that way they're looking at it as I'm explaining it, as I'm showing it to them. So it's show and tell. As Ann Bear would say, there's no dark corners.
If there's any other questions that you have, you can always shoot them my way. Dean and Daryl, you can find both of those guys on the Our Team page on our website. They're both there. You could contact them through LinkedIn. You can contact them. Their email addresses are right there. So you should feel free to shoot them questions anytime you want as well. Guys, thanks so much. Dean and Daryl, thank you so much for your leadership in serving as our panelists. Have a great evening.